Hey YouTube, so it's Mad Men time. And I don't really have too much to say about it. It was a good episode, but there was a lot of really sort of fragmented pieces of things that might come up later on. So, yeah. I'll just say that Peggy stabbed Abe and they eventually broke up, which I was kind of sad to see, but for the most part, I think it's for the best. They've always had a kind of weird relationship, and basically they are living in their new place on the east side, and there's a lot of crime going on, and Abe got like stabbed by some street hooligans or something at the beginning, and he wouldn't identify what they looked like because he didn't want the cops to persecute the minorities. So that, and Peggy was just kind of like, basically, this sort of violence exposed that they are two separate entities going for two separate things, and she was scared one night and she had this sort of stick with a knife at the end, and she turned around and she stabbed Abe on accident. And when he was in the ambulance, the ambulance, when he was in the ambulance, he basically said, we should break up. You know, you're my enemy, basically. We're fighting for two different things. And that was that. The thing with Peggy that kind of annoyed me, though, for one, I didn't really get her whole dilemma with picking between Don and Ted. I think that's his name, right? As far as their decisions on certain accounts, she seemed like she felt like she was in the middle, and that picking one or the other would not be good for whatever reason. But I didn't really understand her dilemma about it. I don't know if she feared that she was going to get fired or what, but I didn't really understand that. But really pissed me off was earlier in the episode, Ted called her in his office and basically said that he, still thinks about their kiss that they had a couple weeks ago. And she was kind of like, you know what, I kind of forgot about it, but I do still think about it. And he was just basically saying, like, it can't happen, basically. And so when Abe dumped her, her first impulse was to go into Ted's office and tell him. And I guess, I don't know what she expected. I don't know if she expected him to be like, oh, great, I'm going to divorce my wife and we'll be together and blah, 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 blah. He kind of just ignored it. And I think that pissed her off, but in my estimation, it seemed like he was really super hung up on her, knowing that he couldn't have her because they were both together, and I guess he was sort of comfortable with the, I have feelings for you, but I can't have you, so it makes it less complicated, I guess, with her telling him, oh, I'm not attached anymore. He probably just got a little bit scared because it was probably going to make things more complicated, and I'm taking hella pauses. He probably just thought it was going to be a little bit more complicated, and he didn't want to think about it. But I'm sure that this will manifest itself throughout the rest of the season, and they'll probably end up getting together. Betty and Don hooked up. They were going to Bobby's camp, and I think Bobby Draper is so adorable. But I have to say, at the beginning, she was at some sort of function, political function probably, and this guy was like, I want to be alone with you all night. And it just called to mind that, yeah, Betty has always been a bit of a flirt. And it was funny because they were in her and Henry Francis were in the limo after it, and he was like, what did he say to you, word for word? And it seemed a little bit aggressive, like he was gonna pound on her a little bit if she didn't say the right thing, but it turned him on. And I love their relationship. I just think that they're so, like, weird, and, they keep the sex alive whether she was fat or small, and I just love them together. Which brings me to the cheaterization of Betty Draper. Don saw her and saw that she was skinny again, and he was all into her, and she definitely picked up on that. They talked over a little drink, and she went into her room, but she didn't close the door, and he came in, and they had sex, and I felt really, really bad about it. I did yell, "No, don't do it, Betty," because I really like Betty, and I think that she, you know, from the beginning of the series to the end of their marriage, she got really stronger, and I really love that because he did treat her so horribly. He treated her like a 12-year-old. And I was just like, no, don't go down that path. But Betty was in control of this affair. Betty, it was just sex to her. And I don't know if Don felt that same way. Don is always up for the chase and up for getting what he can't have or what he's not supposed to have. And he revels in those victories. And she wasn't really allowing him to revel, if that makes any sense. She cut him down the side. She basically said, we don't work together. Poor Megan. She doesn't know that loving you is the worst way to get to you. He kind of threw some shade with that whole, if I was just to hold you, that would mean more. I would feel closer to you than the sex. The sex doesn't really matter that much to me after he boned her. Like, what an asshole, right? But then it was funny because he started kissing her again, and she was like, wouldn't you rather just hold me? That's kind of like a, yeah, right, dude. So I felt good about that. I ended up feeling good about the cheaterization. I don't think that they should have did it, but I was happy that she was in control of it and, wouldn't let Don have his one up on her, basically. Another thing that happened was the co-star, the wife of the showrunner or the writer on Megan's soap opera, basically came onto her, tried to kiss her a couple of times. Nothing happened. She, told her, I'm not into that. And, Megan, I really do like Megan because she's young, but she's not afraid to speak her mind. And, she told the lady that basically it seems like you're taking advantage of me. I pour my heart out to you and you're just trying to look for any, key words to jump my bones, and it's not going to happen. And then at the end of the episode, she's just really at her wit's end with Don. We need a change. I don't know where you've been, but I'm here. Like he said, oh, I really missed you. And she was like, I always miss you. So you know what? I like Megan. I think I've always liked her, and she's begging for change. And it's Don Draper. It's not going to happen. Come on, Megan. You know this. Divorce his ass. I can't really think of anything else that happened other than Bob Benson. It's still on Facebook just now. 10, 15 minutes ago, I was on Facebook and they had a picture of Don Draper. They had a picture of Bob Benson and was like, he's been on the show all season, but he's still a mystery. And he really is. And, from the way it's written, you can't not like him. I mean, he's so nice. He's so generous. But there's also just an underlying scumbag opportunist thing going on. I think he still really has a dark side, but he is so cute. He's just a cutie patootie. And him and Joan were going to the beach, and he was kind of standing away from her. It still seems like a friend zone thing. I need him to be a little bit aggressive and get on Joan, because Joan needs to get some. I don't know if she's had any, but she needs to get some. And, Pete is considering leaving. He doesn't feel like he, is getting what he deserves at the company. I guess people don't really respect his opinion and things like that. So he's looking to go. And Duck, was that his name? Duck? The guy, Duck. I think his name is Duck. Anyway, he was talking to him because Duck is a headhunter. And Duck kind of said something that I said a couple weeks ago, that Pete is probably just not happy in this advertising world. I'm going after this advertising thing, and Duck was just encouraging him to, bond with family, get back to his family roots. If you can't manage your family, you can't manage a corporation or a company or whatever. So, Pete is going to go through a change. He's really seems really frustrated, and I really feel bad for him. Again, I like Pete. Hasn't always been like that, but I understand Pete, and I really do want him to leave the company and try to find something that really, really makes him happy. I think he likes the competition and the competitive nature of this accounting, advertising, but I don't think that he's happy. So I want him to get some happy, okay? And that's pretty much it. I mean, that was everything of note that I could think of. So this is the end of this review. And I'm thinking that maybe I should record these and post them on Sunday. So the video will come up right before the new episode. And it'll give me maybe a little bit more time to analyze the goings on and have better reviews. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. I'm still, this channel is still in transition, and I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. So, I don't know. Tell me guys, tell me guys, tell me what you guys think. Should I post these the Sunday, so it's a week late? Because, I don't know. Just tell me what you think. And that's it. So, bye YouTube. I love ya.